Okay, friends, we are here now for, let me make sure my mic is working. Okay, we are here for lesson 36 in A Course in Miracles. My holiness envelops everything I see. And as we've done with the last couple lessons, I've given a little riff first, and then we've dug into the content officially. So if you have time to stay to the end, please do. Um, this is an important lesson, and I was just kind of reviewing it again. And one of the things that I wanted to point out is this invitation into the mystical. This lesson, my holiness envelops everything I see, obviously brings in the learning from yesterday. My mind is a part of God's. I am very holy. And then it's saying to us that your holiness, now that we've established that, we started to practice embracing that idea, even though it's not one that we start with. Well, we start with it as babies, but then as we develop, blah, 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 we get a little bit, in our head about everything, self-conscious, etc. But this idea that my holiness envelops everything I see is mystical because it's asking us to see things with a little extra sparkle, um, to allow ourselves to look beyond what it is we actually see. Like right now, I'm seeing this man on a bike crossing into the bike path next to It's Yoga. And I was like playing that out. My holiness envelops everything I see. And I could kind of like imagine him now, beyond the body, that there's this spirit in him, this energy in him that said, hey, let's go ride a bike. It's sunny out, spring is coming. Wouldn't that be fun? So, our invitation for today, as we move through the lesson, is to look around things with different eyes, with a little bit more curiosity. Curiosity is a trait of our child energy. And too often we set aside that um, that curiosity just to get real refined into thinking that we know what everything is about and what everything is for. So curiosity really invites us into that playful energy of the child, into the less serious, more kind of excited, looking around and going, wow, in the early lessons, we practiced a lot. I don't know what anything is for. And now as we're developing into, the 30s and 40s lessons in A Course in Miracles, we're starting to see that we have a holiness about us that we can tap. We can settle into this energy and we can say to ourselves, my holiness envelops everything I see. And, this happens a lot as a parent. We can get I know this is how it plays out in my life. We can get very structured and very serious about the places we have to be, the things we have to do. And it can feel a little bit like being a drill sergeant. But if my holiness envelops everything I see, I invite you in your relationships today to practice this, to look at your children and instead of racing off to the next activity or the next thing you've got to do in your work or whatever it is. Take a moment and just say, my holiness envelops everything I see. And watch how the little humans in your life, how their eyes sparkle. And let's envelop them with loving energy. And let's settle into the present moment where we can access the presence, with a little bow on top, these presents that occur in the present moment. And let's envelop everything with holiness. And it's so beautiful to see how kids, even animals, like if I sit with my cat for a minute, she's magic, you know, but there's so often where she's meow, meow, meow. She wants me to sit down and play. And I'm like, sister, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I got to go here. I don't have time to sit around all day, you know, and when I do, and I allow my holiness to envelop everything I see, she sparkles. She gives me so much love. Just the sound of her purring relaxes my nervous system. So it's in the presence that we practice these lessons. And when we do start to see things a little bit more shiny. And we see with the eyes of vision beyond what the body's eyes see with the, in the yoga practice, the third eye, the aspect of ourselves that can see beyond the physical and the material world. Super powerful. All right, let me come in here and just read for today. Lesson 36, my holiness envelops everything I see. Today's idea extends the idea from yesterday from the perceiver to the perceived. Sorry. You are holy because your mind is part of God's. And because you are holy, your sight must be holy as well. Sinless means without sin. You cannot be without sin a little. You are sinless or not. If your mind is part of God's, you must be sinless, or a part of his mind would be sinful. Your sight is related to his holiness, not to your ego, and therefore not to your body. 3 or 4 practice periods are required for today. Try to distribute them fairly evenly and make the shorter applications frequently to protect your protection throughout the day. The longer practice periods should take this form. First, close your eyes and repeat the idea for today several times slowly. Then open your eyes and look quite slowly about you, applying the idea specifically to whatever you note in your casual survey. Say, for example, my holiness envelops that rug. My holiness envelops that wall. My holiness envelops these fingers. My holiness envelops that chair. My holiness envelops that body. My holiness envelops this pen. Several times during these practice periods, close your eyes and repeat the idea to yourself. Then open your eyes and continue as before. For the shorter practice periods, close your eyes and repeat the idea. Look about you as you repeat it again, and conclude with one more repetition with your eyes closed. All applications should, of course, be made quite slowly, as effortlessly and unhurriedly as possible. So I want to bring up this idea the Course is saying here about sin. And this invitation for us to view ourselves as sinless. Most of us understand sin from the Latin terminology, which means to miss the mark. And that's a sin is something that, it occurs all the time. It doesn't require guilt. It requires correction. So it's like, I missed the mark in being really patient with my son yesterday. So do I guilt myself? I certainly want to. I can find myself going into that train of thought, or I can correct, get present, use the lesson for the day. My holiness envelops everything I see, including this beautiful child. Right? So this idea of us being sinless is to remind us there is an aspect of ourselves that is unchanged by what we do, what we say, what has been done to us, what has been said to us. And we are too often identified with our ego. The Course calls it that aspect of self that believes in separation. So as you practice the lesson for the day, this invitation is saying to us, like, look, if you are your sins, if you are your mistakes, the places where you didn't show up in the best version of yourself, which, by the way, is perfect and is as it is, can't be changed. If you show up in that way and you believe yourself to be that way, then you are also believing that the divine is capable of that. And so that's something to consider here, right? It's like, it's a rework in our mind. If the divine is perfect love and we are created from perfect love, then that's what we are. So again, if we are missing the mark and we find ourselves kind of cycling in our own cuckoo-ness, our own insanity, then a correction is all that is required to come back to center. So my holiness envelops everything I see. The divine is perfect love. I come from perfect love. I am perfect love. When I make a mistake, I recalibrate. Yes. Yeah, I think that's really good. Enjoy this lesson for today. I really like the sparkle energy of it. My holiness envelops everything I see. Looking at plants, looking at, your little tea kettle. Like there is like, wow, what is even happening here? This coming out of this boom, 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 this structure that we kind of find ourselves in. This is an invitation again to kind of settle into the curiosity of our child energy. Much love for you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.